Yo, what's going on YouTube, and welcome back to another Mecha Break video. Today in this video, we're going to be continuation of our Counter Striker series, where we learn what are the best mech to counter a specific feature striker. Now today, this is episode 3, and we're going to learn how to counter Inferno. Now, a few people in our live stream wanted to learn how to counter Inferno, so we did all our play testing and we condensed it into this video. We're going to be taking a quick look at the feature striker kit, the weapon, and all three AUX1, AUX2, and AUX3 ability. And then we're going to be ranking the best strikers that can actually counter from D all the way to S tier. Now, if you want to see an in-depth guide of Inferno specifically, I already dropped a video for a beginner guide to Inferno, and I think Inferno is a really solid mech. Inferno, I feel, is one of those mechs that is good around team play. If you have a team that is very good at doing callouts, specifically when you're in rank Grandmaster and above, when you start to have team that want to synergize together, you can tell people who want to make sure we have a healer, people who want to make sure we have an ultra defender, a tank. When you have those types of teams who are willing to work together, this is when Inferno becomes really solid. So on higher ranks, he becomes really tough to fight. So today in this video, we're going to be learning about the kits and also the best mech to counter Inferno. So without further ado, let's look into it. Alright, so we're going to look at first at Inferno's weapon. Now, Inferno's weapon are the exact same on the left and right, so both clicks are going to be exactly the same. So in this case, this is called the charge splitter. Now, there are two rate of fire when it comes to the charge splitter. There's a shotgun that you can alternate between each other, and there's also one giant charged up beam. Now, unfortunately, while you are charging up, you cannot shoot this prematurely. You have to wait till it's fully all the way up. You will hear an audible sound, and then you're good to go. Now, when it comes to the shotgun specifically, the closer you are, the more beams come out of the shotgun, the more damage you're going to do. Now, the charge up beam does have a really long range, so keep that in mind. Might be really good to use this to keep someone off the objective or trying to snipe off a target. You can use this ability, this main weapon charge up for that. Now, it does do a lot of damage. It does 20,000 damage. So if you have a target that is near its end and has a low HP, you could finish off a lot of targets this way. Now, the one thing that does suck when it comes to Inferno is the reload speed that it has. It has 9 seconds for it to reload, so it takes a really long time. I want the devs to kind of adjust this a little bit, just to allow it to be a little bit shorter of a time frame. I think 7 seconds would probably, give or take, be good. 6 seconds might be too strong, but it might just be just right. But I think 7 seconds should be the reload speed. Now, looking at the AUX1, this is the split emitter. It does exactly what Hurricane's charged up 3 ability, the AUX3, does. The only difference is with Hurricane and this one for Inferno has 12 beams altogether. It does do a little bit less damage versus Hurricane, but the amount of damage is pretty solid. On top of that, because it's 12, what's really good about this is it can hit multiple targets, and you can use this to block Falcon's missiles, Sky Raider missiles, Stego's missiles. So I think overall this is super duper solid. I think this is a really good ability that you can also hover above the air as well. Second ability is your focus emitter. This is one giant beam that charges out. This does a lot of damage, and you do have to make sure you are locked on. If you're not locked on, you have to kind of aim in the vicinity of this. Now, with this specifically, we were able to test that around 900 to 950 meters is your cap off, drop off specifically. Even though it says lockout range is 480, that just means the big giant triangle. We're talking about going really far. So if you are playing Inferno, you can use this ability to be able to hit a target and stop someone from getting an objective if you're really far. Again, the cap is around 9 to 950. And the last ability is the booster kit. One of the best things about Inferno, it relies heavily on Inferno, is the booster kit. With this, you're getting faster evade, faster sprint speed, faster jump height, a little bit of energy regen, fluid armor regen. Now, if you don't know how to play Inferno, like I said, I would highly recommend to check out our beginner's guide, where we kind of go into depth on how to actually play Inferno and what you need to do to be able to balance. And I even showed a trick that I've been using specifically on mouse and keyboard to make it even easier to play Inferno. So now let's look at what are the best mechs to counter Inferno. All right, so now as we start to look at the mechs that can counter Inferno, and we're going to start ranking them, keep in mind, things do change. If you have an Inferno player who isn't that great at playing Inferno and not knowing how to change your boosts and all that, so your skill level plays a factor. On Inferno specifically, is a little bit harder to understand how to balance out all your abilities to keep yourself afloat. So when it comes to the skill level of it being friendly to play as Inferno, is kind of tough. But based off your skill, if you are a really good Inferno, you'll be able to balance out everything. But we have to look at Inferno as a general. If anyone chose it, how would you do overall? And this is what we're going to be basing off. Same goes for the strikers who are being picked. Now, you might be a S tier, top 50 specific striker. You might be able to destroy this striker that we're talking about. So even if I put them at D or C or whatever rank it is, you might be able to actually destroy the striker of Inferno. So just keep that in mind. It does matter when it comes to skill level, understanding how to play the specific kit, but also understanding your limitations as well. So now when it comes to looking at Inferno, I just want to get that out the way because I know people are going to comment, well, I'm actually this thing, you put it at this level, and with that, I can tell you that I'm way better than that. Look, I understand that, but we're looking at it as a general. If anyone just picked it up, this is how you're going to have to play. Now, again, Inferno, you need to have some team play when it comes to it. If you don't have any team play, Inferno kind of goes down the drain. So if you have a decent team play, this is when it becomes a factor. Now, when it comes to looking at what is the worst and best. Now, I put Tricera as a C tier rank when it comes to Inferno in a 1v1 scenario. Now, why do I put Tricera in a 1v1 scenario? Is because that's, if you're in that scenario where you're fighting a Tricera and you're both at the objective, you can potentially win this battle. Now, the reason why you can win this battle is the amount of damage that you can do that on a Tricera. Now, yes, if a Tricera is sitting in one spot, it makes it even easier to destroy a Tricera. So Triceras now have to move a lot more often, and a really good Tricera just doesn't sit in one spot. But Tricera doesn't really have a lot of energy resistance. So all the weapon damage you're doing as an Inferno makes it so much easier just to go ahead and do normal damage and actually destroy a Tricera. Now, when it comes to Tricera, every Tricera player knows that when you're in your fortress, you do have a limitation of how low you can look down and how high you can look up. So when it comes to Inferno specifically, if you know how to balance up all your abilities and keep yourself afloat, you can really annoy a Tricera who decides to sit at a point. You can go ahead and destroy it. Now, when it comes to Tricera moving around, yes, if a Tricera is moving around, that's great. But while you're moving around, you won't really, if you have your healing drone already activated, that's great. But if you don't, you need to be in fortress mode to activate those abilities. Now, the amount of damage you can do a lot of damage from Inferno to a Tricera because of what the weapon can do. 20,000 from the charge up beam. If you get really close above their head, you can use a shotgun to do a lot of damage as well. On top of that, the first ability and second ability just does a crazy amount of damage overall together. Again, if a Tricera gets picked, most likely people who don't know how to play Tricera are going to just stay in fortress mode. You don't want to do that. To give yourself a chance, you're going to have to get out of that fortress mode and balance it out. You're going to have to try to look up and attack when you can't because of the fortress mode. Overall, if Inferno is really good and it can balance itself in the air, you can do a crazy amount of damage when it comes to Tricera. And I put Tricera specifically at a C tier because it can heal. It does have decent shields. It has complex shields. It can balance from, if a good Tricera can balance between complex, shield, and HP, it would do really, really solid. But again, this is a 1v1 scenario specifically. So if you have healers helping, that also plays a factor into it. So it all changes, but we're looking at specifically in a 1v1 scenario. Now, if an Inferno has no energy and it's just sitting still and it's on the ground, yes, the Tricera can easily burn through that. So you do have to be careful. I think any mech with no energy, you're just sitting duck. So in this scenario, if you have no energy and you're sitting as an Inferno, most likely, yes, any mech will destroy you. But overall, in a normal 1v1 scenario, I think if anyone just randomly picked both Tricera and Inferno, I think overall Tricera is a C tier when it comes to it. Still does decent. If it's really good, you probably be more in the B tier specifically. But again, it depends on the player's skill level and also the skill level of the Inferno player as well. All right, the next character we're going to look at, the next striker, is Stego. Now, I put Stego as a C as well. You might be able to put C minus because it's not as strong with defense as a Tricera. Tricera has so many different types of shields and it can heal itself. Now, when it comes to Stego, you're a little bit more open if you have that front shield up. An Inferno can hit you from all different angles. The haze is really good, and I still think the haze is super duper solid. It makes it where those lasers won't be able to target you. So that plays a factor into it. But what hurts Stego a little bit versus Tricera, besides that front shield, is also the missiles. Now, Inferno's first ability, Aux 1, because it's 12 different beams, it takes like half a second to destroy a missile. Now, all the missile damage you're going to be doing from Stego can easily be negated. You still might have a couple missiles that go through, but most of the missiles from Stego can easily be negated. So that's something to keep in mind when it comes to Stego versus Inferno. If an Inferno is really good in a 1v1 and so is Stego, I would say it's really tough to make that matchup, but I feel like it's going to be really, really tough for the Stego to have that matchup against an Inferno player because most of the damage you can do besides your normal weapons and stuff, the missiles are all just going to get blocked if an Inferno player has their Aux 1 available. So overall, I just think that Stego is just in a C spot. I would even put it at C minus, just right below Tricera. I think Tricera just squeeze it out just a little bit because of the survivability of Tricera, but the amount of damage that a Stego can do if an Inferno player is not well balanced with all their abilities can easily melt a Inferno. So again, it depends on the player skill level, but overall, Inferno's main focus is going to be the tank specifically. The tanks are going to be easier to hit because they're going to most likely be in one spot. They can't move as fast as other mechs specifically, and you're going to be focusing mostly on the tank specifically, and then you're going to be looking at other targets as well. All right, the next striker we're going to be looking at is Hurricane. Now, there was a chatter on a live stream. I think it was Rome. Someone mentioned that Hurricane Inferno are pretty much just Stego and Tricera in an energy form specifically, and it's so true. You have Hurricane being more of that Tricera, or a bunch of shields, and then you have the Ultra Attacker Inferno more like Stego. Now, in a 1v1 scenario, I rank Hurricane as a B, potentially maybe B+, only because you can put so many shields out there, which that can really help you. Keeping in mind, because of your shields out there, even your shield drones, Inferno's Aux 1 ability is able to hit multiple targets. So even if you had 2 shield drones out, it would still be able to target you, because it can lock up to 12 targets, and you are still targetable even though you have your shield drones up as well. So with 12 beams, 2 of them are going to be going after the shield drones, and then the other one will be chasing after you. So it can still get you. When it comes to the actual beam from Inferno, that's also really solid damage when it comes to that as well. I think overall, depending on the player's skill level, Hurricane can do some solid damage against a Inferno player, and I also think the other way, vice versa, when it comes to Inferno going into Hurricane, you can do a lot of damage. It depends on player skill level. I think Hurricane is more of a B to me, maybe B+, when it comes to the 1v1 scenario when it comes to Inferno. Not the priority I would say I would go for, but when it comes to Inferno, it's all about positioning, getting yourself in the right position to be able to maximize all the damage you can do, especially with your Aux 1. You're going to want to make sure you be in a great position to be able to hit those targets, at least multiple targets in this case. The whole team can be targeted by the Aux 1. So when it comes to a 1v1, I think Hurricane is a B because of survivability. It can continue to keep putting shields out, the shield drones. It can also put the giant shield, and it can also put those attacking drones that can start attacking the Inferno player if they're right. Now, if an Inferno is really high in the sky and is balancing, it makes it a little bit more tougher for Hurricane to make sure that they get a drone that could attack it, because of the range of the drone can't always hit an Inferno if they're really far away. So that also plays a factor into it, everything like that as well. But overall, I think Hurricane can be a B. It all depends on the player skill level. All right, the next mech we're going to be talking about is Welkin. Now, I also think Welkin is a B to B+. Now, the reason why I say B to B+ is all based on how good the Inferno player is specifically. If you're on the ground, if you're easy to be able to hit by any brawler, is going to make it so much easier for a Welkin to destroy you. So why do I put it at B? Because Inferno really wants to be up in the sky. It wants to be able to balance all the abilities. So you, as a Welkin player, will have to waste a lot of energy to go after a specific Inferno player, which causes you to waste a lot of your energy, your spinning attacks, all that plays a factor into it. Now, when it comes to Inferno, if you decide to box an Inferno, it can use the booster kit. That booster kit will allow it to not be immune. It would be immune from your stuns. It'd be immune from when you're doing some spinning attacks, the access in the box. It can be immune from all of that. And overall, I think it can survive a box attack from a Welkin because of that booster kit specifically. But one thing that I would say that is really super duper solid that Welkin can do is straight up just notify all the damage that Inferno can do. Because Welkin's third ability is a energy notifier, pretty much. Anything that's energy based will pretty much do no damage when Aux 3 is up for Welkin. Now it is 8 seconds long, and after those 8 seconds, you could do a crazy amount of damage to a Welkin player. But in those 8 seconds, you literally are immune to Inferno altogether. So that alone is why I put B for Welkin, B plus specifically, because I think it can survive an attack from Inferno. If an Inferno is not that great at positioning, you can easily box it up. You can possibly destroy it depending on how good you are as a Welkin player. It might need some team callouts if you can't seem to get them. Being able to stop a Inferno is also really super solid on a team because they can easily destroy your team. So I think overall, if you can catch an Inferno player slipping, you can easily destroy it. The fact that you can notify it, the damage altogether, I put it in B plus. It's almost A. If I was to put it, it'd be more like A minus. But I would definitely say it depends on the player's skill level. But because of the notification on your Aux 3, I think anyone can do super duper solid if you just understand just the kit a little bit. And that notification is why I put it a lot higher. So for me, it's B plus. I can see an argument for A for sure. All right, the next striker we're looking at is Anisis. Now, when it comes to Anisis, I think overall, this striker is a B tier striker against an Inferno player. Now, what helps Anisis when it comes to fighting it is that you can go range, and if they're really far, you can still go after them a little bit. But if an Inferno player is not playing very well, you can easily stun it, bring it down to the ground, and that can play a factor into it. I think overall, Anisis kit to be able to survive and resurrect and purge your armor and then go back into your armor and then purge it again if you have the right balancing and everything like that. I think overall, this mech is super duper as solid at surviving an Inferno player. At the same time, if an Inferno player is not that great at balancing all their abilities, you can easily destroy it. So I think overall, you can do really good job at fighting an Inferno player. You do have a front shield that can help protect you a little bit as well. But what I would say altogether, if you have a chance to go after an Inferno, awesome. Just be careful that if Inferno has their booster kit, if they are balancing it right, it can make you waste all your energy on it. So I would definitely say, overall, I think Anisis is a B tier mech when it comes to targeting an Inferno. Again, it depends on the skill level of both players. All right, the next striker we're going to be looking at is Panaka. Now, Panaka, I put it as a B striker. Now, the reason why I put it as a B striker is if an Inferno is really high in the sky, the range that you would do specifically with your energy blasters isn't really a lot. But because of the way Panaka's shield works is really solid. You can give your shield an emergency drone to one of your teammates, and they can also go after the Inferno with you, or you can give it to someone else to help. You know, they can attack the Inferno while you're helping the team out. Overall, the walls that Panaka can do is a tank. It does take a lot of damage for you to destroy a wall when it comes to Panaka. So if you are in a 1v1, you can try to block yourself. But just like Stego, that only protects you from the front. So if an Inferno player is good at flying in the sky, they can stay up in the if they can stay up in the sky high, they can do some damage to you above the shield. So that plays a factor into it. But I think overall, the amount of shields you have, that big giant shield you have, being able to absorb so much damage, and then you're able to heal yourself and just balance it out. I think overall, you do pretty good job. Now, if an Inferno player doesn't know how to balance it out, I think you do pretty solid if you can get them on the ground and you can attack them. The blast damage Panaka does with the weapon is super duper solid. I think a lot of people sleep on the damage that you can do with Panaka if you're up close in person and you don't miss your bullets. But if you're really far, that distance plays a factor into your weapon hitting a target, in this case Inferno. So I would put Panaka as surviving pretty solid, and I would put the damage decent, again, depending on the playstyle when it comes to the Inferno player. So overall, B. All right, the next striker we're going to be looking at is Sarin. Now, Sarin is a solid mech. Overall, I'm putting this mech at a B. Now, the reason why I'm putting it as a B tier when it comes to Inferno, one thing we were able to test out is when it comes to a Sarin, that grapple, that you can stun a player at the same time, make that silly trick where you think your other teammates is actually your enemies and vice versa, is really super duper solid. But when it comes to Inferno, when you use your booster kit, that totally goes away. You lose that stun that's on you, and that silly trick that they do to swap the team over is also taken away as well. So you can immediately, as soon as you grapple, they grapple to you, you can activate your booster kit. It removes that, and you can look back at your Sarin player. So that plays a factor into it. So overall, just be careful when you are using your grapple. They can easily stop it. They can easily break that grapple lock, and then they will be able to target you just like normal. So don't think you're safe by thinking that they think that they're friendly. In this scenario, they will be able to see that you are an enemy. So that plays a factor into why I bring it down to more of a B tier specifically. I think overall, if that silly trick will still work even after you took that that grapple stun off, I think that would definitely put it a lot higher, probably more in the A plus specifically for survivability. I think the damage overall that Sarin player can do with the charge up main beam, and then you can, if you can get the orbital, sure, but normally you might not be able to get the orbital, but that charge up main weapon is really super duper solid. I would also say the fact that you have wall hacks is also really good as well. The damage you can do with a Sarin is really solid as well. I just think that grapple and the silly team swapping takes away from Sarin's kit. So just be very cautious when you are fighting an Inferno. Don't think you're safe, because they're going to see you as an enemy no matter what. So just keep that in mind, and that is the reason why I put Sarin at B. All right, the next striker we're going to be looking at is Falcon. Now, Falcon is a really solid mech, can do a lot of damage to a lot of teams if they're not focused on it. But when it comes to a 1v1 scenario, when it comes to a Falcon and an Inferno player, I put it as a B specifically. Now, the reason why is because the light missiles and heavy missiles can all be destroyed by Ox 1 from Inferno, which is why most of your weapons will do no damage. Now, unlike the anti-drones from Sky Raider and Tricera, now that those have been nerfed, the beam of 12 missiles of the beam from Ox 1 from Inferno can easily deflect all of your missiles. We were able to test it multiple times, and even in a worse scenario, I probably got 2 or 3 missiles to hit me as an Inferno. But overall, majority of all your missiles can be deflected by Inferno, depending on that range specifically as well. That will play a factor into it. As an Inferno is paying attention to a Falcon player, you're going to be paying attention to the amount of times they're doing their spins, their special movements that they can't be locked onto. In that scenario, that is when you're going to toggle off of your abilities, so you have a faster cooldown. You can get those abilities back when it comes to an Inferno, so that you can fight a Falcon. Now, when it comes to this, you want to be cautious. It's better to fight an Inferno as a Falcon player when you're further away. Try to use those missiles. Use the light missiles to bait out the Ox 1 so that you can use your heavy missiles to not be deflected while Inferno player is on cooldown. So that's how you can be able to balance. Don't waste everything in one shot. That will be the best way to bait out that Ox 1. After that, they don't really have anything to actually stop it. So that does play a factor into when you're fighting a Inferno. So just knowing when to activate your abilities is very key. Don't just spam because everyone is available and you want to destroy that Inferno as much as possible. If they have that Ox 1, it will deflect and destroy all your missiles. And then the only thing left is your auto cannons, which does decent damage, but I wouldn't live by that. So just keep that in mind when it comes to that. Now, when it comes to an Inferno targeting a Falcon, because of your special movements, as long as you keep an eye on your flight in your energy, I think overall you can do a pretty good job at surviving an Inferno player. But it's just the overall damage that plays a factor. You just have to know to try to bait an Inferno player by activating those abilities so that you can bait out that Aux 1, and then you can do a lot of damage to that Inferno player. Now, yes, the Inferno player can use their booster kit to dash away and not be targeted by those missiles, so that plays a factor into it as well. I just think overall, if you can try to bait the Inferno to use the Aux 1 on your light missiles and they still leave your heavy missiles, that can help you to do some damage when it comes to it. But you are going to try to be kind of far away when you're doing damage to an Inferno so that you're not taking too much damage and them easily able to use your shotgun on you and things of that sort. So overall, I put Falcon as a B tier. All right, next striker we're looking at is Sky Raider. Now, if I put Falcon at B, I'm putting Sky Raider at B-. Now, why do I make a difference just a little bit less than Falcon? Is because just like the missiles, you can notify the missiles as an Inferno player. They can blow up your missiles. But on top of that, we were able to test the 6 EMP blast missiles that you do can be deflected with Inferno's Aux 1 ability. Now, I'm not saying you are going to be doing that, but a lot of times Sky Raiders are using that EMP 6 blast while they're in the sky to stop and disorient whoever's on them, whoever's chasing them. So they're going to be trying to do that by putting it in the sky, or they might even put it on the ground. But in a 1v1, you might want to use that blue EMPs. Now, keep in mind that those are missiles technically at first. So when you activate that ability, I can destroy that as well. Now, we were able to test it. On average, we were able to get 3 to blow up and 3 to stay up. Now, there was times where we had it at 4 being destroyed and 2 staying up, and then there's times where we had it at 2 being destroyed and 4 up. So on average, 3 of them, so half of it can be destroyed. So if you are spamming your abilities and you're not rotating it correctly, you can have all your missiles and your EMP be deflected. So that does play a factor into it. If Inferno is really good with balancing out their booster kit, it makes it really tough to hit the main beam that you can use with your main weapon. So overall, when it comes to this, the reason why I put it down a little lower than Falcon is because Inferno can also stop majority of those blue EMPs, which in that case just makes it a little less damage onto and bothering a Inferno, which can do a little less damage, and it can do a little less bothering an Inferno player because they can destroy that. So I put Sky Raider at a B-. All right, the next mechs we're going to be talking about are the 2 snipers. We just kind of put them both in the exact same rank. I think both snipers, Aquilla and also a Norakami, you can get an argument that one slightly is better than the other. They both have, you're going to play them really far away. They're very similar. You're going to play them really far away. Either Aquilla, you're going to be kind of high in the sky for some times, and then you're going to be still really far when you fall down. And then Norakami is going to be invisible and still far away. So overall, survivability is super duper solid. The amount of damage you could do with an Aquilla and also Norakami is also really solid against an Inferno player. When Inferno is activating their ability and they're hovering, they're easy pickings when it comes to a sniper. So while they're just hovering around using their Aux 1, Aux 2 and just charging up their weapons, you can easily snipe them. You can easily hit them, do a lot of crazy damage. So overall, I think survivability is super duper high because you're going to be really far away. You're going to make an Inferno player really run out after you. Probably not. But the range that I do have as an Inferno can do really good, but is not as good as a sniper. So because you're going to be really far away, that plays a factor into your survivability. So that's going to be really good. And again, the amount of damage that a sniper can do, and they're going to be hovering above as well with using their abilities, puts them at a really high advantage at destroying an Inferno. So I think overall, if you're really good at sniping, overall, you're going to be an A-tier mech. So that's both Aquilla and Norakami. All right, the next mech we're going to be looking at is Panther. Now, I put Panther at S tier when it comes to dealing with an Inferno player. Now, the reason why I specifically put S tier is the energy regen that you can do to your shield specifically. well, in this case, the shield regen you can do to your shields are super duper solid. So if you're taking damage, in this case, the complex shield that you have around you with the front shield as well, that helps you out with all together, all this total package you have, 360 package coverage you have with Panther, plays a factor into it. You can activate your second ability to easily regenerate that, so you can survive an Inferno attack because of the abilities to be able to recharge your shields, which is super duper solid. That unfortunately for Inferno is going to have to destroy the shield first and not target the HP at all. So even if you are hovering above, and even if you are literally right on top of Panther and you're shooting it from the very top, unfortunately, just like unfortunately like Tricera, where you can get on top of Tricera and shoot the head, unfortunately like Panther, you cannot get around that even if you're right on top of it. So when it comes to Panther, there's no way about it. When fighting it, they're not going to be able to target you and get around your shield, so that plays a factor into everything. On top of that, the shield regen to survive an attack is super duper solid. But one thing to keep in mind, now we tested this just for giggles, okay, just for giggles. An Inferno player can outrun a Panther if they are balancing out their booster kit, and we were able to test this out. So I don't want you to be shocked like, what? No, I could definitely outrun it. Nope. We tested this out when the Panther was using their Aux 2 to replenish their energy as they were chasing us as an Inferno player. We were balancing out our Aux 3, our booster kit, and we were able to outrun a Panther. Not saying you can't do it, but you can catch a Inferno player off guard. If you do catch them off guard, you're going to do the Wombo combo, which is a fully charged javelin always on hand, and then the melee sword dash down to stun them. So you're going to do the stun down, and then you're going to do a full charge to them. 2 of those combos will destroy Inferno player. I think overall, you can survive an Inferno attack, and you can do crazy amount of damage to an Inferno if you catch them. So I think overall, I think Panther is S tier when it comes to an Inferno, which is no surprise because I think Panther is a really super duper solid mech. Now, I think Panther does have some skill experience that you need to have to understand the kit to be able to do that. So if you want to see Panther and how to understand how to play Panther, we did make a beginner's guide to that. You can go ahead and click our beginner's guide, and you can see our Panther beginner guide specifically on how to play Panther. But overall, Panther S tier. All right, my favorite mech, Stellaris. Now, Stellaris I put as S tier when it comes to fighting an Inferno player. Now, the reason why I put it so high is because the camo really helps you out. You can sneak behind and easily grab an Inferno player if they're hovering. You can use your energy to grab if you want to, use your weapon dash, and then use your grapples to have that available. On top of that, if a Inferno player is targeting a Stellaris player, if you're being targeted and they have that beam and you can't go invisible, activate your third ability. Your third ability, which is the sword drone, will hit that Inferno player, and when it hits the Inferno player, their beams won't be able to lock onto you. They won't be able to target you because you disoriented their HUD. So keep in mind, if you are using camo and that Inferno player has a lock on you with that Aux 1, just hit them with the Aux 3 to disorient their HUD. They can't target lock. Their beams won't be able to hit you. You'll be able to go invisible and survive that attack. So that's one thing we had to learn while we were practicing. Oh, you can do that to survive? Awesome. Because as a Stellaris player, when Inferno has me target, it's really tough for me to not get hit with the beam. You would have to dash a lot to try to get away from it. A good way is if an Inferno player is kind of too close, you can kind of dash behind them and quickly get behind them, and you can easily get invisible because they can't turn quickly. So that plays a factor into it. But when they have their booster kit and have a little faster charge rate on their ability, hitting that Aux 3 with your sword drone will help you be able to disable their target lock on their beams and go invisible. Now, when it comes to the damage, if you can do a melee attack first to stun them, to get an attack on them, that would be very best when it comes to it. And then when they're trying to boost away and they're trying to get away from you, you can get up really high and try to get the grapple hook. If you can, that can be very helpful. Now, keep in mind that you don't want to waste all your grapple hooks. If they are one that they're going to keep activating their booster kit and leave it on, don't just waste your grapple hooks because they can definitely break your grapple hook. So just keep that in mind. If you have 2, save it. You go with the weapon attack first to try to stun them. They use their booster kit. Try to see if you can see if they're going to use their kit all the way, or if they're just trying to toggle it just to get in a good spot. Then you can activate your grapple hook to grab onto them, because there will be a cooldown at least 3 seconds if they're really fast for them to be targeted. So just keep that in mind. Now, if an Inferno player is not really solid at moving around, if they just stay in one specific spot, you can use your sword slash your right click, and it will travel, can pass the illusions and still hit you. We were able to test by me going backwards with my booster kit that sword slash can still go past it and still hit me. So keep that in mind when it comes to that as well. Another thing you can also do while you're trying to get camo is, if they have their beam on you and you have a little bit of energy, try to use that right click sword slash to also stun them. I forgot to mention that earlier. You can use your sword slash to stun them, to disable their lock on HUD, and they won't be able to lock on with their beams. So that's another thing you can do with a Stellaris player. I think overall, you can survive an attack from an Inferno player, and I think overall you can do crazy amount of damage and destroy a Inferno player. Now, last but not least, we have Inferno. Inferno versus Inferno, I think it's always going to be a toss-up. Who's a better Inferno player specifically? So overall, I would say that Inferno can be a B tier specifically unit against another Inferno player. It depends highly on the skill level of the players piloting both the Infernos. It all plays a factor into it. But that's pretty much it when it comes to Inferno. It just becomes who's a better skilled Inferno player. And that's pretty much it. Now, the next mech we're going to be looking into is Hurricane. Now, we were able to play Hurricane a little bit and do the challenge specifically, which is a super duper challenge to do. Challenge 3 to survive a Welkin and Panther attack is crazy. So the next video we will be doing will be a beginner's guide on Hurricane, and also we will be doing a live testing on how to counter a Hurricane player. So if you want to see that, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button. And if you have anything you want to make mention in the comments down below, go ahead and do that. Now, again, keep in mind, all of this is my personal opinion, and it depends on the player skill level. So if I put your favorite mech that you main as a lower rank because you're really good at that mech and you can destroy an Inferno player, you know, I'm trying to use this as a general rule that anyone just picks up a mech, they're going to try to use a mech and they're going to 1v1 if that gets to that scenario. That is what I'm trying to go after. The general person just picking up a mech, they're picking up these mechs and trying to target when it comes to it. So yes, can a mech that I said that is a C tier be more of a B to an A? Potentially, but it all depends on your player skill level and also the person who is piloting the other mech as well. But if there's something that I did not mention in this video that you wanted to bring up, go ahead and leave a comment down below. This is our episode 3 on how to counter Inferno. Like I said, we're going to be doing Hurricane next. So if you're interested, definitely stay tuned. Now, that's pretty much it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I'll catch you guys in our next video. Peace.